Bears. So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it. Yeah. What up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is draft night. We have action. We're going to have more action throughout the night. We had action earlier today. We had action yesterday. It just gets this is one of, with the exception of the playoffs, right? With the exception of the playoffs, this is one of the best times of the year. Excuse me. This is one of the best times of the year. And this is one of the best times of the year because we see when these teams get deep into the playoffs, we see when these teams get to the championship, we get to see how they're built, right? So with us getting to see how these units are built, I mean, it makes it even better. It makes it even better when we understand the moves that were made. Some of them are head scratchers. Some of them don't make sense at the time. Some of them do make sense at the time, but some of them don't. And we find out at the end of the year, well, wow, I was wrong about this. I was right about that. I think this was a good move. This was an underrated move. So we'll start with the Knicks and trading for Mikal Bridges. Now, the fact that OG Anunoby, who played 31 games for the Knicks, 31 games he played for the Knicks this season that just passed. In the 31 games that he played for them, they only lost 5 times. So when he's in the lineup, they win. His versatility is one that's unmatched. There are not many guys who are as versatile as he is. And I value versatility. I care about a guy being able to do multiple things because you get yourself in trouble a lot when you end up with a guy who can only do one thing. Prime example would be D'Angelo Russell with the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell is primarily a bucket getter. Well, when he's not doing that, he doesn't do a lot of the other stuff. So because he doesn't do a lot of the other stuff, that kind of makes him useless. But when you have a guy who, in addition to being able to guard at his position in OG Anunoby, when you have a guy who can also slide over to the 2 spot and guard there, guard the lead guard the 4 spot. When you got a guy who can do that, all right, I can definitely get with that logic. But when you have a guy who, in Mikal Bridges, who I think is a better player, I think he's better offensively. I think he's a better transition player. And I do think that he's a better defender. Now, the idea that Mikal Bridges isn't as versatile as OG Anunoby, that's a bit tricky because I feel like the 4 and the 5 spot changed. I mean, the Boston Celtics had Jason Tatum at the 5, right? The Boston Celtics had Jason Tatum at the 5. So the 5 spot changes. And the fact that OG Anunoby, he is versatile where, you know, you'll see him guarding guys like Giannis. But he won't guard guys like Giannis for the entire game. Like Mikal Bridges, right? Like Mikal Bridges or Alex Caruso, like Luka, that's his matchup all night. That's not his matchup for most of the night. That's his matchup all night. And then Mikal Bridges can slide over and cover Kyrie Irving also. And then he can also deal with PJ Washington. Now, he may struggle a bit with Daniel Gafford, sure. But he wouldn't have to cover him for long stretches. The point that I'm making is the versatility that I give up, with OG Anunoby isn't a huge gap. It's not like Mikal Bridges can only guard the 1, or because he's small, he can only guard the 2. No, he can guard the 3. He can guard the 4. He can do that. And in the process of him guarding the 4, he's pretty productive as a defender. Now, as an offensive player, he's got a damn good stop and pop game. OG Anunoby's got a good stop and pop game too. I think Mikal Bridges is better. I think he's a better transition player. I think he's a better one-on-one player. I think he's a better finisher at the rim. And on top of that, he's cheaper. So because he's cheaper, better player, better defender, more durable, the fact that you re-sign, who, by the way, I think OG Anunoby, I think he could have got more from the Knicks. He settled for 212. I want to make sure we clear on that. He ended up settled. He ended up. Do you guys know that I know he re-signed? I get it. It's not like he just did it a minute ago. I know he re-signed. Pay attention. But anyway, like I was saying, I think he settled for that 212. I think that he could have gotten more. He's the one who blinked. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but in that contract, there's a trade kicker in there. And not only is there a trade kicker in there, which I don't think that they're going to do, you still have from the time you sign a guy in free agency, you still have 90 days to trade him. Now, I doubt that the Knicks are going to do that off the strength that, one, they sign him to that extension, and it's a 15% trade kicker. Now, 15% doesn't really sound like a lot, but I can tell you right now, 15% of $212 million, that's a lot of dough, yo. A lot of dough. But let's get back to what this deal means. I was wrong about them. I was wrong about letting OG Anunoby walk. I thought that the best course of action was to let him walk, because you still have an issue at your 5 spot. I felt like when you got Mikal Bridges, that shored up your OG Anunoby issue. Because whatever you lost with him in terms of versatility defensively, one, I feel like you gained that offensively. And two, I don't feel like the gap defensively, if you think he's better, I don't think it's that big. I don't think it's that big at all. In fact, I think Mikal Bridges is a better perimeter defender than OG Anunoby is an overall defender. So with that being said, why am I going to overpay for a guy when I already have this and a better version of it? The example that I gave earlier was Drew Holiday, Marcus Smart for Drew Holiday. Everything you do, I do it, except I do it better. Now, better player does not mean better fit. That does not mean that. But in this particular situation with Marcus Smart and Drew Holiday, it does. Not only am I the better player, I'm also the better fit. So he did the same thing in Milwaukee with Eric Bledsoe. Better player, better fit. I think Mikal Bridges, not only is he a better player than OG Anunoby, I feel like he's a better fit too. And with him being a better fit, I didn't feel like it was necessary to overpay for OG Anunoby. Twice in the last 5 years, he's only played 65 games. I know that there were some other circumstances, like he had a death in his family with his father. But we can't leave out other important aspects. Like, he missed the entire 19 playoffs. He missed the whole playoffs. Last year, he broke down again. So because of that, a guy like Mikal Bridges, who, he missed some, I don't think he missed much time this year, right? I don't think he missed much time this year, if he missed any time. But he's basically been an Iron Man. So my vision when they traded for Mikal Bridges was Hart, Alec Burke, McBride, Precious, they all go back to the rotation. I'm starting Jalen Brunson at the 1. DiVincenzo is at the 2. I'm putting Mikal Bridges at the 3. Julius Randle at the 4. And I got to figure out my 5 spot. So the money that I was going to use, on OG, I'm going to use that on my 5. Because I already got Mikal Bridges under contract for 2 more years. I already have him. Not only do I have him under contract for 2 more years, I got him under contract for 2 more years cheaper. So because I have him at that, why am I going to overpay for OG Anunoby? And the way that this unit is designed, with Brunson at the 1, with DiVincenzo at the 2, with Mikal Bridges at the 3, with Julius Randle at the 4, and you shore that up with the legit 5-man. I'm not, to be honest with you, I don't know if Hartenstein is a 5-man on a championship contender, a starting 5-man. I don't know that. I'm good with moving off of Mitchell Robinson. I'm straight with that. I'm straight with moving off Mitchell Robinson. I think he's made of glass, and I think that you got the best years out of him already. I'm straight with that. So with that being said, if I think about Hartenstein, who was huge as a backup, right? Who was huge as a backup. It's completely different when we're actually a championship contender. Those two things are not the same. Not even close to the same. So with that being said, I was a little I'm still a little skeptical. I'm not saying that I'm out. I'm still a little skeptical about Hartenstein as your starting 5-man. I love Hartenstein. Let's be clear about that. I actually think he works better in Oklahoma City. I think he actually works better in Oklahoma City than he does, because they can pay him. One, they can pay him, and he fits that need that they don't have. That dirty work guy on the front line. They don't really need him for buckets. Like with the Knicks, do they need Hartenstein to score? Listen, man, in this NBA, contrary to what you guys might think, in this NBA, you have to have a guy who can score in the post. He doesn't have to be Olajuwon. No, he does not have to be Ewing. He doesn't have to be Shaq. But there has to be, I got to be able to get you the ball. And I have to be able to get you the ball on the box, and you can get me a bucket. Now, maybe that's Julius Randle and Hartenstein is their dirty work guy. Maybe that's the case. I just like them better with Oklahoma City. I think they play faster. I think they're younger. That's not to say that I don't think that he'll be back with the Knicks. I just know from a business aspect, it really doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to take less money, because there's no guarantee that I'm going to get this money back. Now, remember, the Knicks can't pay him the max. They cannot pay him the max, unfortunately. Now, with that being said, right? Now, with that being said, they can pay him. But if a deal on the table from Oklahoma City is better, and with Alex Caruso, with Shea, with Dub, with Chet, if I can make more money plus, possibly be on a better team, I'm not sure that I'm turning that down. I will say this, even though I think this is a mistake signing OG to that much money, because I'm not sure if he's going to hold up. This is a trade very much like when Kyrie Irving got traded to Boston from Cleveland. Like, we're not going to know about this. We're not going to know about this trade for another 2 or 3 years. But I understand what the Knicks' plan is. And the reason why I understand what the Knicks' plan is because where we are in the NBA today, I mean, we've had 6 different NBA champions in the last 6 years. We've had 6 different teams in the East. Let's see, we've had in just in the East Finals alone, we've had Milwaukee, Miami, Atlanta, the Celtics, Toronto, and I'm leaving somebody out. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out. We've had Boston, Miami, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Boston, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Boston, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Miami, Toronto, and Indiana. Just this season, we've had 6 different teams in the East Finals. So we do have parity. We have some parity in the East. Not only do we have parity, we're also in a time where we don't have a lot of wiggle room. What I mean when I say that, when you have this much parity, like we got to strike when the iron is hot. We have to get what we can get right now because ain't no guarantee we coming back here. This isn't. I don't see in the NBA at this particular point. I don't see Shaq and Kobe. I don't see Jordan and Pippen. I don't see the Steph Curry Warriors. I don't see them, even though as good as Boston is, and I think Boston is a damn good team, and there's no reason, barring health issues, that they shouldn't be in the mix next year. No reason, but I don't see them like when the Lakers won the NBA championship in 2000. I was pretty convinced. I'm like, yo, these dudes gonna be around for a while, so you better get used to seeing them. Same way I felt about Jordan and Pippen when they won it in 91. I'm like, yo, these dudes gonna be around for a while, so you better get used to seeing them. They're not going anywhere. We living in a different time with this NBA, right? We living in a different time with this NBA. So ain't no guarantee you coming back. Atlanta proved that. Ain't no guarantee you coming back. Miami proved that. You could get hurt. You could end up moving some players, losing some players. So ain't no guarantee we coming back. So we got to strike when the iron is hot. We have to have to get what we can get when we can get it. So with that being said, I'm looking at this current landscape of the NBA, and I understand why the Knicks did what they did. We're trying to maximize our winning potential right now. I do think that they overpaid for OG Anunoby, even though I know for a fact that they win more with him in the lineup than they don't. And that matters. I will not argue that matters. 100% that matters. Because when you got a guy, that's that versatile, who is that good on the defensive end, who is also a 15 to 18 a game guy, it's hard to pass on that. But if I have somebody, right? But if I have somebody that I can trade for, that I can essentially get the same thing, why am I overpaying for him? It just doesn't make sense. A prime example is Kristaps Porzingis for Robert Williams. Kristaps is not the defender that Robert Williams is. I don't think there's a huge gap between them two, though. I do think that Robert Williams is better, but I don't think that there's a huge gap. So when I trade Robert Williams for Porzingis, I am giving up some of the defense, but I'm not losing all the defense, right? I am getting some of that defense back, and I'm getting more offense. And on top of me getting more offense, when I extend him, I'm not extending him for probably what I would have had to pay Robert Williams. Now, I do own Robert Williams' bird rights, but I would have had to pay him more. I'm not doing that because fiscally it doesn't make sense. So I'm not a fan of guys walking out the front door. I think from a management from a management standpoint, that's just a bad idea. I don't like it unless you have a situation where you can replace that guy that's walking out the front door. If I can replace that guy that's walking out the front door, then I'm comfortable with it. I'm good. I don't take issue with that. If I can replace him. So if I'm moving off of if I'm letting OG walk and I have Mikal Bridges, even though I don't like to let guys walk out the front door, I'm good with it. I'm straight with it. And I see again, I see the Knicks vision because again, when you're in this space here, right? When you're in this space here where you're competing for a championship, and I do think that the Knicks, even though they got beat up, you know, they lost a huge chunk of their lineup, right? They lost a huge chunk of their lineup. I do think that they can challenge for the Eastern Conference Championship. Even before they did this, if OG doesn't get hurt, if Julius Randle doesn't get hurt, if Mitchell Robinson doesn't get hurt, I still think the Celtics beat them, but I do think that they're a legit challenger for the Boston Celtics. I do think that. So with that being said, now that you've upgraded your roster, because I said this about the Knicks before, being in the East Finals, I repeat, do not make the mistake, which they didn't, do not make the same mistake that the Atlanta Hawks did, the Atlanta Hawks made in 21. Do not make the same mistake that the Portland Trailblazers did in 19, where you sit on your hands and you just run it back, because other teams are going to get better. Other teams are going to get better. Don't think for 1 second that the Celtics is just running it back. They're going to get better. Milwaukee has to get better. They can't come back with what they had. They have to get better. They have to do something with that roster, because they're going to be in the same spot that they was in this season that just passed. Because in all honesty, when I see guys like Giannis getting non-contact injuries, what that tells me is the beginning of the end coming. That's my question. When I see guys like Giannis getting non-contact injuries, it could possibly be nothing, sure, but is this to be? Even though Giannis, I think he's 29. Yeah, 29. I think he'll be 30. I think he'll be 30 this year, if I'm not mistaken. But when I see non-contact injuries, that makes me question: is this the beginning? Are we close to the beginning of the end, or do we still have some years? That's the thing that I worry about. With that being said, they can't come back with the same roster, so they're gonna have to get better. Indiana saw what the Knicks did. They can't just sit on their hands neither. They just signed Pascal Siakam, so that helps them out tremendously. So you have Siakam and Halliburton. So I love that. Absolutely love that. In addition to Halliburton and Siakam, you're going to get Matherin back. Neesmith is going to be back. I'm good on Turner. I'm ready to move off of Turner. The Miami Heat have to get better. Now, I'm to be honest with you, I'm straight with them moving off of buckets and starting over and building that unit around Bam. I'm good with that. Because I think Bam at 26 years old, I think you got 4 or 5 years with Bam at this level. And when I say 4 or 5 years, I don't mean 4 or 5 more years in his prime. No, I think these are peak Bam years. So I think at 26, going on 27, I think I can get 4 more years out of Bam. of this. I still can get, I feel like I can still get more years after this because I feel like he still is in his prime, but these are the peak years. Like, I feel like I could get the most. That's why I'm good moving off of buckets because I feel like I've gotten everything out of him. And I don't think that I'm going to get anything more. I think that's it. So, with that being said, I say that to say that the Eastern Conference, right? I say that to say that the Eastern Conference, the teams that are in contention, Philly's not coming back with what they had. They're going to get better. They're going to lose Tobias Harris. Embiid's going to come back healthy. I'm out on Philly, and I'm probably in the minority, but I'm out on Philly. I think Joel Embiid is made of glass, and I think that he's still an elite player, but I think that his history of breaking down, that's just going to continue as he gets older. It's just going to continue, and what you do is you just try to manage it as best you can. That's all you can really do. Just manage it as best you can. I'm out on Philly, though. But Philly is going to improve. I'm sure that they're going to do something with their roster. So the Knicks, they can't just sit back and just rest on their laurels and go, okay, we was in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and we'll get Julius Randle back next year, and Mitchell Robinson will be healthy. So let's just run it back. No. Mm-mm. We can't do that. Hell no, we can't do that. Plenty of teams have made the mistake of sitting on their hands when they could have gotten better, and other teams have passed them by. And because of that, they end up missing that championship window. That's where it gets tricky. So I was wrong on the Knicks letting OG walk out the front door. I was wrong for that. And I still think it's a mistake, but I'm wrong. Before they signed him, I thought that the lineup, but before they signed OG and they ended up trading for Mikal Bridges, I thought the lineup was Brunson at the 1, DiVincenzo at the 2, Bridges at the 3, Randall at the 4, and we got to figure out our 5 spot. Right? And we figure out our 5 spot. So with the money we would have saved from signing OG, we could have gotten a 5-man. I'm already and again, I'm not on the fence when I tell you this, that, and I know it's over already. I still think that the New York Knicks their 5-man, he's in Charlotte. They already screwed that up. So now we have to go in a different direction. Now, what's the plan moving forward with the Knicks? Because, there's some people who tell me that the Knicks should move off of Julius Randle, and I think that's a mistake. Just like I think paying OG was a mistake, I think moving off of Julius Randle is a mistake too. I think that with seeing what this Knicks team did, I feel like they showed Julius that if you get on our page, how much better are we? And I think Julius saw that and goes, man, I could really help these dudes. If I was healthy, I could really help these dudes. Really help these guys. So with that being said, I think it would be a mistake to move off of Randall. I do. I think it would be a mistake to move off of him. I think that for what they did this season, they're all pro 20-10 guy away from really challenging in the East. And if they bring him back, I feel like I don't think that they move off. I don't think that they move off of Julius Randle. I would be surprised if they did, and if they did, I think that would be a mistake. I do. I feel like that would be a mistake if they did that, and excuse me, they would regret it. I'm confident that they would regret that because one, I feel like Julius at the stage in his career, not only at the stage in his career, but the age that he's at, like they got him on the cheap right now. Like this, I think he's on the books for 28 million, or I think next season, 30 million, something like that. That's on the cheap. So if they could get him, or you talking about moving him, I'm not going to be able to get that back. I'm not going to get an all pro 20 and 10 guy for $30 million. I'm not. That's not happening. Now, I understand that Jalen Brunson is your guy. I understand that. I understand that Jalen Brunson is your guy. But if I'm moving off Julius Randle, I think that's a mistake. I do. I think it's a huge mistake. I don't think that I think that's rhetoric for you guys who've been listening to the media. You can't give me legit logic why moving off of him is the best option. You can't. You can tell me that it's a mistake because you heard it from somewhere else. You can't give me legit logic why an all-pro 20 and 10 guy who you didn't have in the playoffs sees what they're doing with the Knicks, sees what they're doing with the Knicks now and going, man, I could help this crew. I might have to change my game up a little bit. I might have to sacrifice a little bit, but I could really help. So if you could give me legit logic why you moving off of him, I'm all ears. But I don't think you can. I don't. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. I am. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. What up?
Chill. What up, sir?
What's up, brother?
Man, the Knicks pulled off the grand scheme of the decade. Man, they weren't supposed to do this. They were not supposed to be able to not only get Mikal, but keep OG. I know you a fan of the big man, but in this day and age, I think Hartenstein can be serviceable as long as you have that great wing defenders you have with Mikal and OG and Bronson being a absolute dynamo point guard and
Minor,
that bench.
you ain't winning with a serviceable big. You're not. It's not
What are you
happening.
talking about?
Who has won the NBA championship with a serviceable
Boston
big?
just won with a serviceable big.
Last I checked, Porzingis is not serviceable.
But he wasn't playing. He didn't play the majority of the playoffs.
Right. And Al Horford is not serviceable.
Al Horford at this day and age is serviceable.
Al Horford is better than that.
No.
And he turned it, and on top of that, let's not make it look like Al Horford does what Hartenstein does. Hartenstein doesn't stretch the defense like Al Horford.
True.
Hartenstein isn't the offensive player that Al Horford is.
Doesn't have to be, though.
100% he does, man.
No. I'm saying Hartenstein doesn't need to be for this Knicks team.
Yes, he has to be able to score. We can't have a dude out here like Claxton, who we can't get anything from him. We have to be able to get something from you. That's not the way that works, Minor. No.
You have 3 excellent offensive players and 4 really with OG. Chill. Your big man doesn't have to be a huge offensive threat. He just needs to be able to get it off the glass, be able to catch the lobs.
Yeah.
And that's really it. That's really all they need from him. As long as he's rebounding, defending, and blocking shot. Chill. Who's the best big man in the East if Joel Embiid goes down?
Who is the best big man in the Eastern Conference? Bam.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Bam is good, but I don't think Miami is gonna be in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Chill. I don't. Now I agree with you. When they meet up with Boston, could Porzingis pose a problem? Sure, but I need to see him healthy through the playoffs first before I even really give that a thought. Right now, right now, if I'm the Knicks, if we can trade Randall for maybe some additional bench
Davis,
pieces, I
what are
know
we
you do.
doing? Why?
Chill.
I can't
What?
handle this, man. I can't. I
Why would
can't.
wait? Why wouldn't you trade Randall to shore up your bench when you have four four great players? Why wouldn't you do that?
We're
Tell me the
small. Number one, we're small. That's number one. Number two, Mina, do you remember? Do you remember when Jalen Brunson in the beginning of these playoffs, when they played against Philly, he wasn't lights out. He was shooting
no,
under 40%.
and yet they still won.
Right. And the reason why they won is because of their defense. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of their defense.
Mm-hmm.
And because Joel Embiid was banged up.
Surprise, surprise. What's always the case in the playoffs?
Him being banged up.
Bingo.
But here's the difference with that, though. Here's the difference. Are you relying on not just Joel Embiid? Are you relying on that for the duration of the playoffs?
Chill. What does history say? Come on. What does
Wait,
history
wait, wait,
say
wait, wait,
about
wait, wait.
Joel Embiid?
I ain't talking about Joel Embiid. Take Joel Embiid off the
Okay.
table. I'm talking about for the rest of the playoffs. Is that what you're relying on? Because this season was an anomaly. This
In
season
what
was, and I ain't
aspects?
talking. I ain't talking about Joel Embiid. I'm talking about
You talking
your
about
Knicks.
all the
I'm,
injuries?
I'm talking exactly. That's not going to happen on the regular. No.
I
So that's what you're relying on. And on top of that, y'all ain't sneaking up on nobody. Everybody is on to you
now
guys.
that's the truth. They're
Let's be
not going
clear
to
about
sneak
that.
up on anybody.
That's why.
But
And the Eastern Conference is getting better.
are they getting better?
Yeah,
Or did
bro.
the Knicks? Or did wait? Or did
Come
the
on, man.
Knicks? Did the Knicks get substantially better? Boston is already great, and then after that, the level of competent GM talent and
Mhm.
coaching it goes down. Philly could be great if Joel can stay healthy, no doubt. Miami, big question mark on Jimmy. Don't know if he's going to be there. Bucks, we already said they ain't going to do nothing. I'm out on the Bucks as long as they got Doc there. Who's left?
This is crazy, man.
Who's?
This is nuts.
I'm just giving you the landscape of the East.
Okay, sure. To your
Now,
point. To your point, because this is crazy to me. So so the Eastern Conference will watch a team like the Knicks get substantially better, and everybody else is gonna sit on their hands. They ain't gonna do nothing. Is that what I'm
what?
understanding? Is that what I'm
And I'm
understanding,
gonna
brother?
say it again. What has history shown us? Because when Miami formed the Big Three, the only team that tried to contend with them was the Nets by getting a bunch of old players from Boston that just lost to them
Mhm.
in a couple of seasons previous.
All right. So we're
So
going off the history. All right. I can get with that. Sure.
that's all I
All
can
right.
go
All
off
right.
of
Okay. Okay. Mine, I have no
because
problem with that. None whatsoever. But I tell you what, brother. This off season, how I feel about the Eastern Conference, what they do in this off season is going to tell me a lot. So, mine, I got to get moving,
absolutely,
brother. I
yeah,
got to get
yeah.
moving, brother. Good to talk to you. What up?
Chill.
What up?
Hey, all right, hear me out. I got a theory. As you know, the NBA is all about relationships,
It is.
and agents play a big role.
They do.
Something about the Knicks just ain't sitting right with me for some reason. I don't know with this OG and Anunoby deal. Is he real quick before is OG a real max player?
Is he a real max player? I
Is
mean,
he
for his value, for what he does, there aren't a lot of guys who do what he does. But I do think they got a guy on the crew that does something very similar to him right now.
okay? My theory, OG, I don't think this is going to be the roster in the next year and a half to 2 years, and this is why. Leon Rose has ties to CAA. OG is a CAA client.
Mm-hmm.
They've tried to get Donovan Mitchell last year for a few draft picks, but them CAA and Danny Ainge aren't on the right. So Danny Ainge was asking for the farm, the house, and the whole city, and they said no. So Worldwide West, he got ties with them Kentucky and Villanova boys. Something is telling me Carl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, those are CAA guys. They have ties to those guys. Karl Anthony Towns is from New York. Something is telling me that they needed to get these assets, give them a good deal to match later for a contract value to cancel out in a trade. And I think Bridges probably stays. I think Anunoby and Randall might be part of a deal in about a year or two for a bigger fish, because New York has always talked about wanting to get a bigger fish, but no one's wanted to come. I think Jalen Brunson has exceeded expectations, but deep down, to lead them to a championship, I think they need a 1A or a 1 option. No downgrade on Brunson. I'm a Maverick fan. Hate that we let him go, but something is telling me with them CAA ties, it's going to be deeper than this. I think this is just a 1-year prelude. We're going to use OG, maybe Randall, and we're going to get a bigger fish. I don't know if they go back and try to get – I don't think they get Mitchell now since they have
Hardenstein?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
you talking about
DiVincenzo.
Mikal Bridges. You're talking about Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges, who's really more of a 3, but just because, like I said, OG, man, these agent ties and all these guys are
100%.
100%. The Knicks are all about relationships with Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Brock Aller. I mean, I like to study more of the background with the NBA and ties, and that runs deep. But something is telling me they're making these deals. They have OG's bird rights, but let me know if I'm crazy or not.
You're not. You're not. It's not. You think it's a coincidence that Anthony Davis ended up with the Lakers and he's on Clutch Sports? That's not a coincidence. I mean, there's plenty of teams that have guys who have relationships with teams, agents who have relationships with teams. No, this isn't an interesting theory. It's a legit theory. Interesting is, I didn't think about it like that. No, if you don't know this, you're not in the loop.
Yeah.
100%.
OG CAA, do you think that Karl Anthony Towns, I know people talk about him and Rudy, do you think Karl Anthony Towns could be another target in a year or so? I did see something came out today how they don't want to go over the luxury and they want to try to keep Karl, but man, that money they can't pay everybody in Minnesota.
Nope, they can't. That's why I feel like with that group, they probably got another year, maybe 2 years before that window closes, and then they got to do something else. So I don't think that they move off of Karl yet, because I do think that they right there, but we're going to find out. That's not an interesting theory, what you said. That's legit. Good talk to you, BD. No doubt. What up?
Thank you. I've been, chill, appreciate it, but I think a lot of the things that people don't realize about Randall Iheart, I'm going to run through real quick. As far as Biggs, up until he got hurt, Randall at the rim on defense, when the defender is coming to him, 22.5% of the time when they're attacking the rim, they're attacking Randall. Now, when Mitchell Robinson after he got hurt and Iheart was playing and Randall was there, they looked good defensively because Randall was able to stand in front of the guy and keep pressure on. All they had to do was watch the ball. So all those blocks and all of that was due to his defense. Also, Randall can give you 25 and 10 with his assists, because most people don't even remember when Brunson was dealing with the dribble, and he was messing up. Randall was giving games with 7 to 8 assists.
He was leading them in assists.
And here's another thing, ball handling. He's good with that, plus with the double team. Randall getting double team or Brunson, you guys mean to tell me they're going to put their top 2 defenders on Brunson and probably try to do it on Randall? That opens up for everybody else with the lobs. But what I say with Iheart and Mitchell Robinson is they showed flashes of them showing skills. Example, Iheart was passing his floater, but he wasn't aggressive throughout the whole season. He was playing hurt, and plus, he wasn't even as physical on defense. He was allowing people like Turner to abuse him. He was getting abused by smaller guys. So for me, I wanted Andre Drummond, because I know with him, I could get a 10 and 10 guy with the system that we have and our bench. We also upgraded our bench. Bridges, the only thing I like about that trade, if you look at it, Bogues moved to Bridges.
I think you can get him on the cheap, too, by the way.
And we got him cheaper.
Keep going. And Andre Drummond, I think you can get him on the cheap. But keep going.
Exactly. It's like 11 mil. So you get him, draft a young guy. You get him, draft a young guy, you're good. And on top of that, what did I just say? I just lost my thought. Dang it. Because I thought about the Drummond. But then anyway, with Iheart, You look at iHeart, he had flashes of being abused and mishandled. He looked confused. So for me, with his offense, it's in question. I think he should go somewhere else, get his money. Mitchell Robinson, we should trade. I think that what the Knicks are doing is solidifying our bigs. Because if you look at it, Randall is a big who's being defense and can help you out. Also, when Brunson was struggling, who was the guy that pulled him to the side? Randall was like, yo, come when we were playing the Bucks. Yo, come in. I got you. Let me take some of the work off your load. Y'all don't appreciate that. And another thing I don't like is that defense creates offense, offense creates defense. OG's ability in the playoffs and later in the season when he came back, most of his points was off of turnovers. So I don't understand why you guys are saying there's no value to it. He's not requesting the ball. When he was in the Raptors, it was 14%, 14 times he would get the ball in 14 plays. Like he had 14 plays. Here he's getting 8 or 9, but the extra 4 or 5, he's getting off of his own or being transitioned, getting blocks, turnovers. So for me, I see the Knicks trying to go big with big defensive wing guys and stay somewhat young because Randall's the only old person we have. He's 29 years old.
Right. And
So
you probably still got a bunch of years left out of him too.
And one more thing, Bridges and Randall's contract are both up in 2 years. Why not give it a shot? OG goes down, Bridges could cover those time periods that OG needs to rest. And then we could save him for the playoffs. We could run different formats like we did this year with the 4-ball where we had the 4-guard setup. We can run other systems. Tiz has that potential.
Sure.
Let's watch it.
All right, Bob. I know where to find you
man.
at, brother. All right, yo. Yes, sir. I'll be there tonight. Yes, I will. I'll be there tonight. Mari, my man, what's up, brother?
What's up, Jill? Can you hear me?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, here we go. The Knicks have got their 2000. Thibodeau's got his 2011 team back with 2.0. He's even got somebody from Britain again. But yeah, I think this Knicks team is got a good roster. I think they have potential to probably go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think most likely next year if they can stay healthy. I mean, I like their versatility. They're basically defensively versatile in every position. Even I think the worst. Depending on who you're going to have the starting center, it could either be Hartenstein or Mitch Robinson, depending on who can stay healthy. But Randall's probably their worst defender per position. But even then, their defense was still good with him on the court. That he wasn't necessarily a defensive problem. So I think they've definitely made the best move of this offseason. And I honestly think that they. If you look at it, when you said about parity, I mean, look at the last time the Knicks won the league. That was the last time there was parity. That was 1970, 1972. So now 52 years ago, they won the NBA title. So I think that they see that there is an opportunity and window because I don't think anybody is necessarily scared of the Celtics. I think they understand what the Celtics are. And I think they've adjusted, to be honest, to allow for that kind of versatility because I think what everybody kind of saw was you kind of have to have a serviceable player in every single position. You don't necessarily have to have a great player like we had with the kind of heavily weighted LeBron teams and the Warriors teams of the kind of early 2010s, but you have to have positionally a very good defender. And if you think about the Knicks, they have an all-star caliber player in Mikal Bridges at the 2, potentially. They have Julius Randle, who's an all-star and all-NBA player. Jalen Brunson, who's all-NBA. Mitchell Robinson and who's there 2? So I'm just trying to think about who's there 2.
DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo's a good shooter. He's a very good shooter. So I think they definitely have a good chance next season, to be honest. Maybe the bigs might be a problem because I do think Mitchell Robinson is probably not going to last the whole season.
I think he's made of glass, Amari. I'm not going to lie to you. I think he's made of glass. I do.
And I don't think he will last the whole year. I think. But I do like the move. I actually haven't really got anything really negative or positive to say about it. To be honest, I think it was a solid move. What's your kind of thoughts on?
I didn't think that you had to overpay for OG Anunoby. I'm not a fan, as have you spoken to me in the past. I'm not a fan of just letting guys walk out the front door.
Yeah,
management. I don't think that's smart for management to do that. But in this particular situation, I was comfortable with it. Off the strength that I have Mikal Bridges, who I'm not losing much from him. I'm not losing much from him when I'm inserting Mikal Bridges in the lineup. I feel like Mikal Bridges is a better player. I feel like he's a better fit. I feel like not only is he a better fit, I feel like he's a better defender and he's cheaper. So if I was going to lose OG, I was comfortable with that. And I felt like they overpaid for him, and I don't think that they had to. All right, brother. Good to talk to you. What up?
Direction, and I know why we picked the direction. In case you haven't heard, Joe Tsai is most likely selling this team. You remember the Koch records? You remember old Koch records?
No,
KOCH.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Julia Koch, she put in 15% of ownership of the team. I'm guessing they looking for another 85. As far as the trade goes, I'm just glad we picked the direction. To be honest with you, bro. No, I'm not turning on my light. It's hot up in here. We just picked a direction. And I just wanted us to go with the direction. However, we are gonna re-sign Nick Claxton. He's 24 years old. We're gonna sign him to $100 million. And we probably gonna most likely, I'm not 100% sure. We most likely gonna come off of Cam Johnson and probably get somebody in tonight's draft because we still don't have a pick in tonight's draft. So I'm waiting for the draft to be over to see who the hell we're gonna steal out of this and try to put a part of our youth movement.
Right.
As far as the Tangerines go, letting OG Anunoby basically spork you down for $212 million is ludicrous to me. The Knicks have once again overpaid for a B- player like he did with A+ money. This is back then. This goes back to Allen Houston. This goes back to Larry Johnson when he was on his last legs. This goes back to a whole bunch of other players that they done signed. They signed much made better players than OG Anunoby to shorten money over the years. I understand that the the money is higher now, but paying OG Anunoby anywhere close to $200 million is tomfoolery. Nothing but tomfoolery. I definitely agree that they overpaid for him, and they most likely going to regret it because they don't understand that the rest of the Eastern Conference is going to make a youth movement as well. If the Indiana Pacers, I don't think they're as worse off as everybody thinks. There's a reason why they were able to shoot 60-something% in Madison Square Garden in the Game 7. Mm-hmm. The Orlando Magic is not tomfoolery. You know what I'm saying? They on their way. You know what I'm saying? But the Eastern Conference, they're not going to be as competitive in terms of like teams knowing what to do. They're going to be competitive in terms of youth, movement, which is going to make Boston Celtics runs to the finals seem a lot easier than what they are. That's what it's going to make it seem like. But the reality is that the Eastern Conference is going to continue to break down like they normally do. Right. The Knicks are going to be victims of their play style because the reality is that if they're not rebounding, if they're not doing the dirty work, as you call it, they're not going to win games. And if they are doing the dirty work and too much of it in 40-something minutes, which Tom Thibodeau has been proven to play you at, then that means injuries is coming. Mikal Bridges, as durable as he is and durable as he has been, that means the injury is coming real soon. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're playing with Tom Thibodeau. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, you have that. You definitely right about whatchamacallit. Mitchell Robinson has definitely made a glass, but he does do the dirty work. That's probably part of the reason why he made a glass. You know what I'm saying? So because anytime you're doing a whole bunch of dirty work, you definitely prone to injury. Not re-signing Isaiah Hartenstein is probably going to be one of the biggest regrets that the Knicks.
Well, they can't afford to pay. They can't afford to pay him as much as other teams, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. Because if you own a guy's bird rights, that's the reason why you're able to keep your free agents. But they come up with this dumbass loophole in the system where if you drafting right, well,
right.
If you're drafting correct and you're in a big market, you shouldn't be able to keep all of your guys. So give me
all of your guys. Yeah. Well, and yeah, I think that's kind of silly too. But I think that's the thing that teams like the small market teams has figured out in the CBA. It's one of the reasons why OKC didn't unload their picks, and they still got as many picks as we do.
Y'all got y'all picks back though. I think that's good. I think the fact that Brooklyn,
we got
your picks.
We got our picks back from Houston. So tell Mars
definitely works.
Mars he could go kiss.
You see why I wasn't with that trade that Mars was trying to sell.
Yeah, of course. I wasn't with it either.
I wasn't with that. So,
and I'm gonna tell you why. Before I leave, I'm gonna tell you why. They try to convince us that Jalen Green was going to be in that trade, and I knew he wasn't. And so there was no more Jalen Green. You never was going to give up Amen Thompson. You never was going to give up Cam Whitmore. The only person that you was trying to give up was Dylan Brooks because the money matched, and we didn't want him. So the reality. Yeah. So you was trying to undercut us from the legs, and basically Sean Marks and whatchamacallit said, "Yo, we gonna leave this team in good graces before they get up out of here because we don't want no problem with the Koch family and trying to get us out." So yeah, you found me. You found me. Everybody that's looking for the next man, you found me. I'm here. I'm gonna be here. Maybe 379.
Good to talk to you, brother. What up, Brandon? What's going on?
Yo, what up, Chill? All right, I got something wild to run by you. All right, it's wild. I'm just preparing you. All right, so listen, the Knicks, I love everything about what they just did. To be honest with you, I think that they made that move to compete with the Celtics. They need them. They need strong wings to be able to run with JB and JT, right? I think that's what they tried to do with OG and Mikal, right? Now, this is where it gets tricky because Julius Randle. Now, if you ask me, I think they should try to send Julius Randle back home to Dallas and check.
I knew that was coming. I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Check the temperature on Gafford and see what they could do. I don't think that's awful. What you think?
Well, first of all, it's not awful for Dallas. It's not. It's not awful for Dallas. Okay, that's number one. So I understand that.
I'm ripping hard, by the way, if you can't see.
Of course, 100% you are, and I understand it. 100% I do understand it. However, you already got a bunch of guys on the cheap. I still feel like you need guys on the box that can score, and you have to have an interior guy who can score. One of the main reasons why Luka was having a problem, because even though Gafford was a lob threat, even though Lively was a lob threat, how much better would he have made Luka's life if he could throw him the ball on the block?
I know,
and he could get him a bucket. I ain't saying I need a 20 and 10 guy on the box, but how much better does that make Luka's life when you could throw a guy the ball on the block or throw a guy the ball in the mid post, he can go to work and get you a bucket? That opens up your offense way more, man. So Brandon, I gotta bounce, brother. It's good to talk to you though, my man. Absolutely. Neef, what up?
Yo, chill. What up? It's Neff, by the way. It's a party. It's all good.
Neff.
Shit, real quick. East is getting tougher. I'm getting scared. You know, I'm a Milwaukee guy.
I do know that.
5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges to the Knicks. I think Mars on the panel or I think it was Damo actually, who was like, both teams won in this trade. Like, sure, you can be like, okay, yeah, Knicks gave up all this draft capital, blah, blah, blah. But like, they're really in a win mode now type of thing. And plus they added another Villanova boy to their already obviously chemistry and filled squad over there. And it's just kind of good for both sides because shout out Mars, he kind of like put me on to like how the draft capital worked and how the Nets, how Houston was kind of involved in that deal without being involved in that deal. So it was very interesting stuff going on. And it just made me scared for my team because if we don't do anything this offseason, we're going to be definitively the third best team in the East, which is good, like objectively, but like how we've been the past few years since Giannis came on his ascension for first MVP, probably a year before that. It's not, the city's not used to it. So it's like, okay, we got real competition over here. Before the Dame trade, you would say Boston and Milwaukee are pretty much neck and neck. It
wasn't that big of a gap.
It was not at all. It was not at all. But now it's a gap, like
it is.
Straight up. I would say the Knicks making this trade, it's a gap too. So if we don't do anything, we're gonna get left behind.
So it's Boston, the Knicks, and Milwaukee.
Yeah,
so they have to do something. They 100%
gotta do something. We gotta do something. Either making good draft picks, like whatever. I know we're in a second apron, so trades are super, super hard. But
I can dig it, Neff. I can dig it, Neff. And like I told you, the season is not over. I will be here. You know where to find me at, brother. Good to talk to you. Absolutely. Hey, listen, I'm going over to playback. I'm doing the draft. If any of you guys are interested, it's Playback TV. Come check me out. If you're not, it was good to see you guys tonight. I will be around. I am not hard to find. You know where to find me, guys. This is one of the best times of the year. I will see you guys soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, Do not, I repeat, do not drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. Call your mother. I got one super chat that I have to go over before I go though. Gon says, C-Town, your Boston baked beans better watch out. Watch out for what? What they better watch out for? Even though I'm not a Boston Celtic fan, but what they better watch out for is my question. Who they better watch out for? So I'm interested to see that. But again, guys, it was good to see you guys tonight. I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. Call your mother. I'll see you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. I'm going over the playback. I'm going to do the draft. Good to see you guys.